Hey there, math students. We're back with another really quick update to what we did in class today. And if you check it out, the math notes from the 19th on Thursday looks something like this. And the study guide that we're going to hand out, we didn't quite get to because we spent a lot of time going through the homework today. So your homework from last evening, which are pages 91, 92 and 93 from our text. That's our study guide for tomorrow's quiz. And if you check out those pages, you should be good to go on tomorrow's quiz. If you look at what we covered in class today, we spent the first part of the class, probably a little bit more time than I had planned, going through a little bit more on the box technique for finding the area of a shaded region or finding the area of a triangle when it's on in there. And what we wanted to do was make the point that you make the box as small as possible. In other words, the sides of your box, whether it's a perfect square or a rectangle, touch the vertices of our triangle. We get the area using length times width of our box or rectangle, and we subtract the triangles since we know that the area of a triangle, so the area of a triangle equals 1/2 times base times height, which comes into play right now. So our lesson 10 practice problems last night looks something like this. We had the first one talking about each triangle, and if the base is labeled B, draw a line segment that shows its corresponding height. And if you look at the corresponding heights, one of the questions, for example, had a triangle something like this, and they labeled this side B. And I'd like to point out some of the common mistakes that you see when you have these questions. Very often students will look at one of these sides of the triangle and name them the height. But remember, the height is a vertical distance. It makes a right angle with the base, and it goes to the vertex that is the furthest from the base in terms of a vertical distance. So if you spin it, I was encouraging students to spin this, so if it helps you visualize the base as being parallel, say with an x-axis on a coordinate plane, it kind of helps you see that, okay, I'm making a straight line, a 90-degree angle up from the base, and the vertex that is at that point, that's my height on this triangle. So if they don't label the base as the one that seems like down, if you will, on your paper, that's okay. You can spin your paper, you can spin that any way you like. Sometimes you see it labeled a slightly different way. There's one, for example, that was something like this. And they did label the base, this is the next one. They did label the base in the textbook on the bottom. And sometimes you see the height labeled, and again, let's make sure we put that little right angle symbol there. That means this is a 90-degree angle. It makes a perpendicular line with our base. Sometimes you see it like this. Other times you might see it off to the side here. So I'm trying to make it stand out just a little bit. So if you see it like this or like that, either one of these represent the height of our triangle. The very next one was a question, and I'll just show this one to you very quickly, which was asking for, select all the triangles that have an area of 8 square units. We went through each and every one of them with getting the height labeled according to the base, and each one, we could have spun it a slightly different way on a couple of them, but each one we took the bottom or the line parallel with our x-axis here to be our base. And really, when it's set up like this, it was just a matter of counting the units, 1, 2, 3, 4 units across, and counting the height and applying the formula, area equals 1/2 base times height. Moving on to the next couple of questions that they had in the homework. There was one that had this shape, and if you check out this shape, we had a number of students in both first period and third period give a couple of different ways that they broke up this one. I saw it as 2 triangles that I could then cut out from the shape. After using, again, the 1/2 area is 1/2 base times height, I was going to subtract this triangle, get the area of my rectangle, and figure out the area of this shape or the shaded region. Other students saw it differently. They took and let's see if we can get a different color in here to make it kind of stand out. They decomposed the figure, which is great. This is exactly what we've been doing the last couple of weeks in class. And you could make a 1 by, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 by 6 rectangle there. You could take this piece of a triangle, put it down here, and you can decompose that. To check your answer, our answer is 18 units squared on this one. This was number 5 on page 93, sort of page 93 here in our text. The one just below that was asking us to make 2 different parallelograms that have equal areas. And the big takeaway here, and we spent a little time with it in class, was remembering that to get the area of a parallelogram, our formula is base times height. So it's getting a little messy on the paper here, but the area formula for a parallelogram is base height times height. And much like with a triangle, last little thing is we have to remember that once we establish our base, for example, both of the parallelograms we drew in class here had areas of 6 square units. This one was a 3 by 2. Our height, once again, makes a perpendicular, would intercept our base at a perpendicular angle, or perpendicular line, 90-degree angle. This one as well here, you have to drop your line straight down so it would intersect our base, would intersect the line that defines our base at a right angle, at a 90-degree angle. So the big takeaways from today were the formula for the area of a triangle, area equals 1/2 base times height. For a parallelogram, it's simply base times height, and remembering that whether you have a triangle or a parallelogram, you have to drop that angle so it would meet the base at 90 degrees. I think I've kept that one fairly short. Have a good day and have a good study session for tomorrow's quiz.